September 5, 1972. The Summer Olympics. This was the most watched event on Earth, where 900 million people had tuned in. They were supposed to be watching swimming and gymnastics, but instead, they watched 11 men representing Team Israel get murdered live on television. And when it was all over, a woman sat alone in a room in Jerusalem. She made a decision that no court had authorized, and no government would ever officially admit to. She wrote a hit list targeting those that were responsible, and then she sent a squad of hitmen to kill everyone on that list. August 26, 1972. Munich, West Germany. The 20th Summer Olympic Games opened to the world with a single, deliberate message. This was not the Germany of 1936. This was not the Germany of the swastika banners and the shadow of Adolf Hitler watching from the stands. This was something new, something warm, and something different. Security personnel were ordered to be unarmed, inconspicuous, and non-confrontational. West Germany spent less than $2 million on security for the entire event. The fence surrounding the Olympic Village was 6 feet high, and athletes had been seen climbing over it when coming back from late-night partying. For 9 days, it worked. 7,000 athletes from 121 countries competed without incident. American swimmer Mark Spitz won 7 gold medals in 7 days, and 17-year-old Soviet gymnast Olga Korbut became a global sensation overnight. The world was watching, and the world was smiling. On the evening of September 4th, the Israeli athletes went to see a performance of Fiddler on the Roof. They returned to their apartments at 31 Knollstrasse in the Olympic Village, laughing and relaxed. Some of them went to bed, and some of them were still awake past midnight. But that night, something happened where 11 men in total, representing Team Israel, never made it home. September 5th, 1972, 4:10 in the morning. 8 men in tracksuits scaled the 6-foot fence surrounding the Olympic Village. They were members of Black September, a Palestinian militant group, and they had chosen the most watched stage in the world to make their list of demands. Their mission commander called himself Isa, Arabic for Jesus. He had been living in Munich for months, preparing. He and his deputy had memorized the layout of the Israeli compound. They knew which floors, and they knew which apartments. At the door of the first apartment, Israeli wrestling referee Yosef Gutfreund heard a noise. He opened the door and saw masked men with guns on the other side, so he threw his entire body against the door and screamed at his teammates to run. Some escaped, but most didn't. Moshe Weinberg tried to fight the men, but he was shot dead. Yosef Romano grabbed one of the intruders' guns, but he was also shot dead. The remaining 9 hostages were bound at the wrists and ankles. By 7:40 in the morning, 2 sheets of paper floated down from a window, and the list of demands were written in English. Release 234 Palestinian prisoners held in Israeli jails. Release 2 German prisoners, and provide a plane to fly them to an Arab country, or else we will begin executing hostages. 1 hostage every hour, starting at 9 in the morning. Israel refused to negotiate, and West Germany tried to stall, but the Olympic Games continued. About 900 million people around the world were watching on television. It was the first terrorist attack in history to be broadcasted live to a global audience. For 20 hours, the hostages sat bound in that apartment as the world watched, and the negotiations went nowhere. Later that night, Black September agreed to be transported by helicopter with the hostages to the military airfield at Fürstenfeldbruck. They were promised a plane to take them out of Germany, but it was a lie, and West German snipers would be waiting. When 2 of the terrorists boarded the plane and found it empty with no pilots, they ran back to the helicopters and opened fire. The snipers shot back. In the chaos that followed, one of the terrorists tossed a grenade into the helicopter where 5 of the hostages were bound, and the helicopter exploded. A second terrorist opened fire into the other helicopter, killing the remaining 4. By just past midnight on September 6, 1972, all 11 Israeli hostages were dead, along with a West German police officer and 5 of the 8 Black September operatives. 3 of the attackers were taken alive, but they would not stay in custody for long. The morning after the massacre, Israeli Prime Minister Golda Meir addressed the nation, and within days, she convened a secret government committee. The committee had no official name on public record, and its participants included Defense Minister Moshe Dayan and the heads of Israeli intelligence. Their mandate was simple, and it was final. Hunt down every individual that's directly or indirectly involved in the Munich massacre, anywhere in the world, and eliminate them. The operation was given a code name: Operation Wrath of God. The assassination unit would be drawn from Mossad's most elite and classified division, a section known as Caesarea. Command was given to a seasoned operative named Michael Harari, and multiple teams of roughly 12 agents each were assembled, with surveillance, logistics, and a kill squad known as Kaidan. Before each assassination, a tradition was established. The target's family would receive flowers and a handwritten card. The card would read, "A reminder, we do not forgive or forget." Meanwhile, the 3 surviving Black September gunmen from Munich were still in West German custody, and they would remain there for exactly 47 days. October 29, 1972. Black September hijacked Lufthansa Flight 615 and demanded the immediate release of the 3 Munich survivors as ransom. West Germany agreed, and all 3 were freed. West German officials would later claim they staged the hijacking themselves to provide cover for releasing them, a claim that remains disputed to this day. It didn't matter, though, because the list already had their names on it. The list was not short. It contained the names of over 20 individuals believed to have planned, funded, facilitated, or ordered the Munich massacre. October 16, 1972. Wales Wider, a Palestinian intellectual and PLO representative in Rome, was returning to his apartment when 2 Mossad agents approached him in the lobby of his building and shot him 12 times with a .22 caliber pistol. 12 shots, 11 for the Israeli athletes, plus 1 more for Germany. December 8, 1972. Paris, France. Mahmoud Hamshari, the PLO representative in France and alleged Black September coordinator, received a phone call at his apartment. When Hamshari confirmed his name on the call, a bomb was detonated remotely, and he died of his injuries weeks later. January 24, 1973. Nicosia, Cyprus. Hussein Abad al-Chir was asleep in his hotel room when a bomb hidden in his mattress detonated. Basil al-Kubaisi was on his way home from dinner when he was shot 12 times by Mossad agents. Name after name, city after city. From Rome to Paris, Nicosia to Athens. The flowers arrived first, then the agents. There were 3 names on the list that could not be reached by any agent with a pistol. They were 3 senior PLO commanders living in Beirut, in heavily guarded apartments with full security details. They believed they were untouchable. April 9, 1973. Israeli Navy missile boats anchored offshore in the darkness of the Mediterranean Sea. Zodiac speedboats were lowered into the water, and 30 commandos from Israel's most elite special operations units were ferried silently to the coast of Beirut. Mossad cars were waiting for them on the beach. The commandos loaded in and were driven to their targets. In under 90 minutes, 3 heavily guarded apartment buildings were simultaneously raided. Mohammed Youssef al-Najjar, the Black September operations leader in Beirut, was killed in his apartment while his wife stood beside him. Kamal Adwan, chief of PLO operations in the occupied territories, was killed at his door. Kamal Nasser, PLO spokesman and executive committee member, was killed at his desk. By the time Lebanese police understood what had happened, the Israeli forces were already back at sea. The operation had sent a message that the Arab world could not ignore. Israel could strike anywhere, at any time, and no one was safe in their own home. There was one name above all others that the Mossad wanted most. The man they believed was the operational mastermind of the Munich massacre itself. His name was Ali Hassan Salameh, chief of operations for Black September. He was handsome, charismatic, known for driving sports cars, surrounding himself with beautiful women, and living in a way that made him a celebrity amongst Palestinian young men. Mossad gave him a nickname, the Red Prince. Through the spring and summer of 1973, Mossad hunted him across Europe. Every tip was followed, and every lead was chased down. Then, in the summer of 1973, intelligence arrived that placed Salameh in Lillehammer, Norway, a small quiet city of 14,000 people. A Mossad team of 15 agents was dispatched immediately. They identified a known Palestinian courier in the city and put him under surveillance. The courier led them to a public swimming pool, where he was seen speaking briefly with a man. The man resembled photographs of Salameh, so a female Mossad agent dove into the pool and swam close enough to hear the man speaking French. Salameh was known to be multilingual, so the team concluded it was him. July 21st, 1973. The man and his pregnant wife went to watch a movie. Then they took the bus home, getting off at a stop near their apartment, and began walking slowly towards their home. A car with 4 Mossad agents pulled up beside them. 2 men got out and shot the man 13 times, while his wife watched from a few feet away. They returned to the car and sped off. The man's name was Ahmed Bouchiki. He was a Moroccan waiter who worked at a local restaurant, and he had no connection to Black September, and no connection to any Palestinian militant groups of any kind. He was not Ali Hassan Salameh. The Mossad learned they had killed the wrong man when news of the shooting was published the following morning. 2 agents were caught when they returned to the same getaway car they had used without changing the license plates, and their interrogations led to the arrest of 4 more. Meanwhile, Michael Harari, the operation commander, escaped to Israel. 5 agents were convicted by a Norwegian court, and the entire Mossad network on the continent had been exposed by one catastrophic mistake. Golda Meir suspended the operation, but Ali Hassan Salameh was still alive. For 5 years, the operation lay dormant. The list waited, and Salameh continued to operate. He married a Lebanese beauty queen named Georgina Risk. He threw massive parties, and he moved through Beirut in motorcades like a celebrity. In 1977, a new Israeli government came to power under Menachem Begin, and the operation was reactivated. In late 1978, a woman arrived in Beirut on a British passport. Her name, according to the passport, was Erica Chambers. She rented an apartment on Rue Verdun, a street that Salameh's motorcade used regularly. She met Salameh at one of those motorcades, and he took a liking to her. Through her, Mossad learned his daily routines, his routes, his schedules, and the timing of his motorcades. As many as 14 Mossad agents were by then operating in Beirut, under various covers, just watching and waiting. January 22nd, 1979, 3:35 in the afternoon. Salameh's convoy of Chevrolet station wagons turned onto Rue Madame Curie from the street below Erica Chambers' apartment. Chambers signaled from the balcony. A Volkswagen packed with 100 kilograms of explosives was parked along the route, and a Mossad agent in a nearby building detonated it remotely as Salama's vehicle passed. The blast was enormous. Salama was hit by steel shrapnel and was rushed to the American University Hospital. At 4:03 in the afternoon, he died on the operating table. 6 years after Munich, the Red Prince was finally dead. 20,000 people attended Salama's funeral in Beirut, but Israel's reckoning was not finished because there was a question that was hanging over everything. Was Ali Hassan Salameh actually responsible for the Munich massacre? Senior Black September officials have said that Salameh had no direct role in planning or ordering the massacre, and that Israel's intelligence was at best incomplete. Ahmed Bouchiki's widow never remarried, and she raised their child alone. Norway eventually paid her compensation. At the same time, Israel never even apologized. The 11 Israeli athletes killed at Munich never received a moment of silence at the Olympics until 2016, 44 years after their deaths. Somewhere in a war room that no longer exists, on a corkboard that was taken down decades ago, there was a list. And one by one, the names on it were crossed off. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel so you never miss the next story.